Okay, so in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, sorry I'm a bit late today. It's Monday and I've been extremely busy, but I wanted to put out a very clear, very simple video. And that is why I drew the diagram rather than going into a lot of detail of what I'm actually going to say. The matter is this. If you are applying to Oxford or Cambridge or any top tier university around the world, you need to understand that your grades will only get you so far. Everybody who applies to top tier schools typically has a distinction or has straight A's or has a 3.5 plus GPA. What sets them apart is this very thing. It's your statement of purpose. What you are going to bring to the university and how are you going to take what the university gives you and take it out into the world. So, before you even start writing, before you start thinking, okay, I want to become a lawyer, or I want to study a master's in politics, or I want to do public policy, I want to do an MBA, you need to get your formatting ready. That is why, where is it? That is why I point right here that formatting is the first thing that you need to do. As a typical format based on which I've counseled over 200 students, around 230 something, and over 75% of them actually got into the first choice of their school, and the rest got into the first two choices of their school. So please, oh please, before you even pick the pen and say, I want to write about this, I want to express this, no, please have a format ready. And for that, you need to limit yourself. You need to tie yourself up and say, I'm not going to talk about my life story. I'm not going to talk about the history of my family. I'm going to divide what I say in three sections. Whether it's a 300 word summary or a 1,001 or a 5,001, it doesn't matter, or 500. You never get a 5,000 word summary. Whatever the size of the statement is, try to divide it into three sections. And then once you've done that, all the other sections can come out of it. There's no, but you must start with three basic sections. Number one is your pitch. Number two is your reasoning. And number three is your growth. For those of you who are taking photographs of something, this is how it's supposed to look. What is your pitch? So I shudder every time I see a statement of purpose which starts with, my grandmother always wanted me to be this. Since I have been a child, I have wanted to look after people. I've always seen the beauty in. No. You need to start with something strong and direct so the person who is reading what you have written say, this is enticing enough for me to read one sentence and then I will read more. That's all you have to do in the first paragraph. So if you are not familiar with the concept of the elevator pitch, please Google it. Elevator pitches are typically 30 seconds or maybe a minute. You see Bill Gates, Trump, Jeff Bezos, or anybody who is rich, successful in business, they're going into the elevator, there's no one else there, and you get to take that ride with them. That is called an elevator pitch. In that time, what can you say to them that will say, here's my card, or why don't you join me for lunch? And talk about your idea. So in 30 seconds, can you impress them? The answer is yes. Elevator pitches work. All these sorts of pitches actually work. In fact, human beings typically take 8 to 15 seconds. These are arbitrary numbers, but you can Google the right numbers. But they don't take more than 20 seconds in assessing the person they're speaking to. Try to get all that energy in your first paragraph. Try to get that in. And the beauty about writing this is that you're going into a master's degree or a PhD degree. Anybody worth their salt in academia will tell you less is more. Now, less is does not mean that it is of less value or it is of less importance. What the less actually means is you don't ramble on. And the older we get, the more we are able to refine our thinking in our words in simple, clean paragraphs or sentences. That is what you need to show here. Okay? So the first paragraph has to start with something strong. So I'm going to explain this format because this is what we do in Lachine all the time. This is our format in BASIC, and I'm going to tell you, and once you write it based on this, you're already ahead of most of the game. The red lines are supposed to represent sentences that are strong and that can communicate an emotional message. Now, emotional does not have to be, my grandmother wanted me to be a doctor, or saving lives is one of the oldest professions in the world. Nothing like that, but something very concise and clear. Along the lines of, like, I gave this advice to a student from Afghanistan. Upon leaving Afghanistan, the first thought in my head was to complete postgraduate education. Now, that is a sentence how one starts a story and say, wow, I don't care who this person is. I don't care what they're going to do, but I'm definitely going to read the next sentence. Upon leaving Afghanistan, I had it clear in my mind to complete postgraduate education. So it tells you that you're going to do postgraduate education. It's part of your ambition. You're clear, and you're from Afghanistan, which means you're from a war-torn region, which means you've seen some difficulty. You're probably an immigrant or a refugee. Part of your family is still in the country. You've communicated so much in that one sentence. That is what needs to happen here. In the red sentence, that is what you need to show. The hook, as they say when you're doing an advert, what will hook the reader and say, wow, that's a good start, rather than the typical, I have always wanted to apply to X degree, I'm writing to apply to this degree. Don't do that. Have a clear, strong message which summarizes your whole pitch. The black line is supposed to be something informative. So I've divided it into 3 paragraphs, as you've seen. The first paragraph has 1 red sentence, 2 black sentences, and 1 blue sentence. I'll explain what they mean. So the black sentence is something informative. It doesn't have to be emotional. It could simply be, upon leaving Afghanistan, it was clear in my mind that I have to complete postgraduate education. Oxford is one of the greatest universities in the world, and the degree of XYZ is generally lauded. So information that everybody knows. We know Oxford is one of the best in the world. We know that the department that you're applying to teaches XYZ. It's clear. But with the sentence, you're communicating that this is what I'm applying for, this is what I'm going to be studying, and this is why I value Oxford. And the same has to be second, third sentence. So start with a hook, then start with something informative, and then after that, another informative sentence. And the blue one is what we call in essay writing, we call this transition sentences. So if you're transitioning from one paragraph to the next, so the first one is the pitch, the second is the reason. So the pitch is the quick fire, half a minute, 1 minute summary that you give to someone. Fair enough. Now you're going to expand on that. But before you expand on that, what is the sentence that will take you from the immediacy of the pitch to the detail of the expanse? You can't simply say, following are my reasons for why. You are given the opportunity to write something great. Write something that is going to get you into the best school or the best job. But we'll talk about best jobs at a later date. Best place you want to be. Not a single sentence should be wasted in this vocabulary like following are the reasons why. Even if you hadn't written them, the people would know that the reasons are following. It's the logical progression of any written document. So don't waste your transition sentence in that. Instead, try to prepare the reader for an adjustment in speed, because the first paragraph was read in immediacy. Okay, wow, there's an elevator pitch and I'm reading everything, great. And now you're going to dive deep into the reason. So maybe try to help them transition through that. There are many examples. We can always talk about them at a later date. So I don't have to talk about it now. Pitch is like a topic sentence. Who is saying that? Sabrina Donko. pitch is like a topic sentence. If you could summarize it in a topic sentence, thank you, Sabrina. If you could summarize it in a topic sentence, that's great. So the red one could be that, or it could be something that can come into a paragraph as well. So absolutely, that's a good point that she's raised. Something that you can narrow answer very easily because people will remember that. So the first paragraph is your pitch, what you have put forward. Then you will dive deep into the reason. And as you see, the reason paragraph starts with something informative. Then it goes to something emotional. Then it goes to another transitional sentence. The transitional sentence could be anything that takes you from one to the other, but it can also communicate information. So it starts with something informational like the degree at Oxford in blah, blah, blah teaches this, this, this. This course is of particular interest, blah, blah, blah. That kind of useless but necessary information. It's not really helping your case. It's only showing that, okay, this person has done research. Then comes your second emotionally provocative sentence, something that makes the reader say, whoa, wow, I never thought of it that way. Or something like, wow. So if you, for example, if you want to study public policy and you said at Oxford, the Master's of Public Policy is one of the best masters there. They teach the courses in negotiation, communication, blah, 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 are very helpful to me. Upon completion, through this degree or upon completion of this degree, I endeavor to work in conflict resolution so that I may reduce or mitigate conflicting circumstances in Africa, Middle East, blah, blah. That's a powerful, emotionally provocative sentence. So that will have to come somewhere here because everyone in the admissions committee knows that the student who's applying, they've probably read what the course is about. So obviously they're going to try to pick keywords and copy paste, and everyone's doing that, so that doesn't set you apart. These red sentences will set you apart. They'll say, hey, remember that person who said, I want to reduce conflict? Hey, remember that person who's a refugee from Afghanistan? This is how they speak. Even when you have machines analyzing these things, they will have some metrics because otherwise the whole student body will be the exact same. And without any diversity in education, there is no point of education because it becomes indoctrination at that point, and nobody wants that, especially these top-tier schools. So they want the diversity to continue. So what will keep the diversity going or keeping you separate are these red sentences. Please spend a lot of time on that. Another thing that I give my creative writing clients, another advice I give them, because I use this all the time, write your emotional sentence first. Write the red sentence first. So you have the red sentence and you're writing it, and you write it in a lot of detail. And what you do is you couple it with blue sentence above and below, above and below. You couple it. So you have two transition sentences and a red emotional sentence in the middle. And then what you do is you put a black informative sentence on top and on bottom. So that gives you around 5 sentences. And then you can remove sentences in the middle and move them around. So try to look at it as a mosaic rather than just stream of consciousness speaking your heart. That is not how it's supposed to be, okay? So this is what it's going to do. And finally is the growth. The third paragraph is the growth. So again, start with something informative. Additionally, I have been part of the debating team, blah, 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 something like that. Or additionally, the workshop on blah, blah, blah really helped me realize, or something about what you're going to do. The red sentence in the third paragraph is going to show how you are going to take this information here and take it out into the world. That's what you need to do. So out into the world could be a PhD, it could be a teaching position, or it could be working for the World Bank, or it could be setting up your own office or becoming a doctor. There's so many things that you can do. But the reader should be left with the final punch of them remembering, I remember what that person from Afghanistan said. She said she has to work in conflict resolution, and this is going to help achieve a nuclear supplies group agreement, for example. I'm just spitballing. I remember that. She wants to come here and she has a clear agenda of where she wants to go. This is what you need to communicate to any reader who's going to look at your statement. Please take a screenshot, because I had planned on talking for 15 minutes only, but it's already gone over. But take a screenshot, or some of it is going to be in the writing, or you already know it. This is a simple format. Now, for different degrees, it's different, and obviously in Lachine we help people do that. So sign up for Lachine Institute, join our LinkedIn page, join our profiles. Our website is down for reconstruction, but it'll be up soon, and we'll be providing all this content there. And this is just one format, but I'm sure it will give you a lot more advice on what to do. The last one is what again, please? Yeah, you can have a look, Savarina. It's growth. Growth. So you need to show, sorry, I'm just going to open this back up. You need to show that everything that you have talked about, this is where I come from, this is what I love about the course, and this is how I'm going to take it further. You need to show that you understand that. And you need to tell them, because if you don't tell them, they'll say, this student doesn't know what they're going to do. Why should we consider this student? They have no idea where their life is going. In your undergrad degree, that's still okay. In your undergrad degree, you come into university and they're going to guide you. In your postgrad studies, can't do that. Can't do that. You need to have some idea. That idea may be right or wrong. Fair enough. But some idea. And then the professors say, well, you're 30% right, or you're 60% right, or you're 90% right. And this is what I can contribute to your growth. That is what teachers have always done. That is what teachers will always do. They will somebody going somewhere, and they will help them get there or get to where they're supposed to be, rather than where they want to be. That is it. So the final paragraph is going to talk about your growth. How are you going to take what you already have, what the degree is going to give you, and put them together to either go into academia or into public life, or setting up your own business, or whatever, or even sit at home and relax. But you're going to show how all the accumulation is going to be turned into a contribution. You need to show that. So this is what it is. And now that we've talked about it, I don't want to hear all of you coming to me in my messages and emails and saying, can you give me advice on formatting? No, sir. This lesson is complete. I am done. If you have any particular questions about formatting, I am happy to help you, as are my partners, who I will connect with you very soon. Now, the writing tips regarding formatting are done. Next Monday, I'll talk a bit more about each individual paragraph, and then how to expand paragraphs further. We'll talk about STEM subjects and social science subjects. We'll talk about PhD applications versus master's applications. There's so much to do. And what is most interesting and troubling, so to say, is that these statements change every year. Because the world is changing every year, these statements change every year. So a statement that would have done well in 2016 will not do well today, because in 2016, Donald Trump was elected as the US president. Brexit happened. The Turkish military coup happened in 2017. God knows whatever else happened in 2018. Pakistan had a different election. In 2019, India had a different election. So many things have changed. So there are people who are reading them go through those changes, and the people like you who are writing them also changes. And if you can somehow communicate that know-how of being relevant and being present, then you have more of a chance of being read by multiple people, and multiple people saying, you know what, I like this student, I like what they've said, and let's use this. Let's invite them for an interview, or let's give them an offer. And if they can arrange scholarships or whatever, they can come. Or let's give them a full scholarship. Depends on what you write and what your GPA is. So try to think long term. This one little document can separate people who can go to Oxford and not go to Oxford. I've seen it happen, and I've been through it myself. So best of luck, and see you next week. 20 minutes is over now.